Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So today's video is actually something quite different. It is a challenge video and probably going to be one of the most difficult challenge videos I've ever done. So I am currently doing the Lavender Dream Life course and I've had it for a while, but since we're in lockdown I am finally trying to make really good progress with it, and I'm on the second module and there is a commitment challenge for 40 days where you have to commit to something for 40 days, and if you miss a day, then you have to start all over again. So I've decided to do it for writing, and this is going to be interesting because I've been trying to get into a daily or weekly writing routine for ages and it has not worked. I used to write every Sunday for part of last year, but that just didn't happen. So obviously whilst I have more time on my hands, I'm going to try and write for 40 days straight, inspired by this challenge. And I have no idea how it's going to go. I just thought it would be a really fun experience to document. I don't even know how I'm going to document it because it might end up as a really long ass video, we shall see. But basically I am going to do this and see what happens, and I have a couple of rules for myself. For the day to count, I have to either write a new poem, write the first draft of a new poem, or redraft a poem, or finish a poem, or whether it's writing exercises. So those are kind of my things. Writing ideas down, bullet points or little bits and pieces, don't count. I need to do something a bit proper so then I can get forward into writing poetry or writing. I have a Word document on my laptop which is basically word vomit with anything on a subject that anything comes to mind, and I basically write it all down in hopes that it might be an inspiration for a poem or maybe a novel. I feel that's kind of my way of processing. It's stream of consciousness in writing, I guess, is what it is. So that also counts. So I have about 4 or 5 things that count towards this challenge. So that is my plan. And I've already completed the first day of this challenge. I have just done a poetry writing exercise, which is a video that the Penguin platform put on their YouTube page, and it is a workshop exercises with a poet called Stephen Sexton, who I think I have heard before. I don't know if I've read any of his work, but basically there was a couple of exercises, there are about 3, and I've got it here on my laptop, and the one I'm actually going to share with you what happened. It's called the N+7 method, and I've never heard of it before, and it was a lot of effort to do for a poetry exercise. And basically the exercise is you take any sort of writing, you can take text from a novel, you can take something from a newspaper, you can take one of your favourite poems, and you basically replace every noun with a word 7 words after that word, if that makes sense, in the dictionary. So I did that. It took forever, not going to lie. It took me ages and I was actually really stressed. For some reason doing poetry exercises really stresses me out, probably because I feel like I have to get it perfect. I feel like every time I do an exercise I'm really bad at it, or nope, somebody's going to hate it, that it's really rubbish, which is also why I don't do or sign up to poetry workshops in person, because I feel like I'm going to be rubbish, which isn't good. So hopefully over the next 40 days doing more exercises will help me with this. So I'm going to read you the poem, and usually this exercise, they say, is a load of rubbish, the result is a load of rubbish, but sometimes it does come up with something interesting, and this is a load of rubbish, the one that I've done, but I have found it rather hilarious when I was reading back through it, and I've done it for my favourite poem, which is Hearts Together by John Betjeman, so I shall read it for you. And word of warning, I don't even know what half of these words mean. I just looked in the dictionary and this is what happened, so I shall read it to you now. So it goes: how emerald the chalky depths below the dancing leech, we pulled the Jeromade up and threw them in the hello. That with its stone bramble and sea quake tufts ran to the climatology edge, and lucky was the Jeremaid that melted in the sunbeam and poured its vitals on the turgescent, I think that's how you say it, in self-effacing fun. Like us two in each other's armalate were seed, corn and soul in one. O rationale, the happy bathe, an hour before our tea cake, when you were swimming breaststroke all along the rocking seabelt, and in between the wavefront, explains the unkempt to me. The Dorset sunbelt streamed on our Limburg and scorched our hinder parts. We gazed onto the peccant beachy and so discussed the Artemis. O logical and happy, we emancipated, heartbroken. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard or you are familiar with that original poem, but that is just absolutely hilarious. Like, you probably can't see it very well, but I have highlighted all the new words in red, and it was stressful, not gonna lie, it took way too much time, but the ending was just total and utter nonsense and hilarious, and that is why I loved it. I don't know if I'm going to go back to that exercise, but that's what I did. And I also did a blackout poetry, which is where you take a piece of text and you basically block out loads of words and keep certain words to make like a new poem, and I didn't do an amazing job, not gonna lie. I did this exercise with the first page of the prologue for A Sky Painted Gold by Laura Wood, and this is rather awful, but I'll share it with you anyway. So it goes, it started, I suppose, a real troublemaker. I don't know why, after years of staring longingly, suddenly urgent, practically fell. First bite, I was lost in faded beauty. Like, I've never done blackout poetry before, so that's not great, but you know, we'll work on it. I kind of prefer this exercise to the second exercise, it's a bit less stressful, but yeah. So those are my efforts for the first day, and I have no idea what I'm going to do. I'm not really going to exactly plan out what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, whatever I feel like doing, whether I have the urge to kind of redraft a poem or write a new poem or do some sort of writing exercise, I'm just going to do it how I feel each day. So I have to write for at least 5 minutes each day though, which may not seem like a lot, but usually I say 5 minutes and I always end up writing longer. So yes, that is my first effort for this video, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. It's going to be rather interesting. Hopefully I don't have to start over and over again, because otherwise this is going to be a really long ass video. So yeah, that is the introduction. That is what I did for the first day. So I will close this clip out now, and I will see you guys tomorrow and tell you what I did for this challenge, what I'm going to do, what I ended up happening, and all of that stuff. So it is day 3 of my writing challenge, and I did write yesterday. I didn't do it, I had to like squeeze in 10 minutes before I went to bed, but I started doing the third draft of one of the many poems that I have not finished yet. And I'm not going to be sharing most of these poems with you guys, just for the factor that I want to keep most of them to try and send off to publication, whether it's in a magazine or a journal or a blog or whatever, and they don't like it if they have been like exposed somewhere else. So if I do end up showing you guys any of the poems that I've written from this video, then they will be on my poetry and personal photography Instagram account, which I always have linked in the description of my video, including this one, so go and check that one out. And if you want to see any of the poems that I do end up posting. But yes, yesterday I did a bit of writing, a little bit of redrafting, and today not in the mood to write, not gonna lie, but I need to make it a habit, and I don't want to have to keep restarting this challenge. So today I'm going to be doing a live show that Ruby recorded. She's done 2 of them, and I did the second one, it was either beginning of this week or end of last week, and I enjoyed it. And I'm doing the first one because she's put it on her IGTV, so I'm going to do that. I don't know if I'm going to do all of it, but she usually does around 3 exercises, so I might do 1 or 2 and then it counts. So yeah, because I've got to get in the habit. I'm not very good at doing exercises, which I probably said the other day. I'm not very good at doing it because I overthink it too much. So doing them more often should hopefully help me. So that is my plan for today, and I've also realised the other day that April is National Poetry Month, so what a great time to do this video, and an appropriate time as well. So yeah, I'm going to go and do Rupee's live show, and hopefully I will have some form of success from it.
I hope you have pen handy, backup pens in case you run out, pencils are sharpened.
So it's a couple of days since I last updated you guys for my writing, and I think it's the past 3 days I haven't kind of updated you, 2-3 days, something like that. And last clip you'll have seen was when I was about to do one of Rupee's Insta live workshops, and I actually really enjoyed that. I did the second one and then I did the first one because I did the second one when it was live. I didn't manage to catch the first one, and I preferred doing the first one. I feel like the exercises were a bit easier, and I was also in a bit more of a better headspace. As like I've maybe mentioned a couple of times in this video, it's not that I'm not very good, it's probably that I'm not used to doing poetry exercises. I overthink it a lot. But I actually really enjoyed it, and I also did that on my laptop because I find it easier to flow when I'm writing using a laptop instead of writing it on paper. I just find the flow of being able to like type faster and stuff like that, and also just get everything out without having to think too much. I just find it a lot easier. So I did that, and then the day after that I ended up writing a new poem, and it's a poem that I'm not going to be sharing with you guys because it's for a book idea that I have, and it's an idea where I'm not going to be sharing any of the poems with if I end up writing it. But it's kind of a part of an idea that I've had for a while, and I kind of knew how to do it, so I've done the first draft of that, which is very exciting. And then last night I started writing in my brand new poetry book. Woo woo! It's not like super fancy, but it's like a nice moleskin one, and I've always wanted that because I finally finished filling up my old one. But I wrote a poem, the first draft of another poem, and the first draft isn't very good, but I am probably going to type it up on my laptop tonight and do a second draft of it. And this poem I will share with you when it's done, and it's just another one about kind of the situation that we are in when I'm filming this video. I think it'll still be going on once this video goes up, but it's all about that, and yeah, I'm looking forward to carrying on with it. I did have another idea for a poem, but it totally slipped from my mind when I went to go and write it earlier, so we're just going to let it brew and hopefully it'll come back to me. But yeah, my plan tonight is to type up the poem that is in here and do the second draft of it, and then yeah, I will keep you guys probably updated every couple of days about how my writing is going, because otherwise this is going to be a really long ass video, even though it's probably going to be a really long ass video anyway. Hello, so it has been quite a few days, I think, since I updated you guys, probably the beginning of this week, I don't know. It's now the 12th of April, and my writing is, still been writing, but I feel like over the past few days I got a little bit lazy. I did finish a poem, one that I told you guys, I think maybe in the last clip or so, that I had done a first draft up. I did like a second draft and then I finished it, and I posted it on my poetry Instagram, so I will leave a link to it always in the description if you want to go and read that poem. I may put it up somewhere on the screen, I don't know, if you want to pause it and read it. But I did that, and then I have basically been writing in my notebook because I tend to end up doing my writing in the evening, which is generally when I like to write anyway. And let me get you a bit of better light. And I've done 3 first drafts technically, like on here. One of them is literally just 3 words, which is a bit silly, to be honest with you. It was just like a random thought that I had, so I wrote it down, and I've done 2 other ones. And then that's what I've been doing over the past few days, doing first drafts and stuff. And then today, when I was walking home from sorting Finn out, I had a brainwave, because I don't know if I've ever talked about this in a video, but I have an extremely, and I mean extremely, vague concept for a novel. And I don't want to be known as a author, I want to be a poet, but this book I know I want to write in verse. I figured that out, but I've had such a vague concept and I didn't know how to flesh it out. I feel like I kind of had to live a little first, if you see what I mean. I got a load of inspiration, like something just happened, something just opened in my mind, and basically I have quite a lot of inspiration when it comes to my novel. I certainly had a rush of ideas, like I had like a very basic concept. It is still pretty basic, but it's less basic than it was, and I have ideas for characters. I even have possible names. I am starting to kind of create my characters as well, like their personalities and what they do and their interests, and I think I've got like where I want to start the book, and I've definitely not got an ending. I don't really know how I would end it or how the story would actually go, but I have bits, a lot more bits than I originally had, which is very exciting. So I spent most of the morning sorting that out. I can't stop thinking about it. It doesn't mean that anything's going to happen anytime soon. I don't think I'm going to actually write this book anytime soon, but I've kind of got more of an idea, so I can start to kind of flesh the story out, kind of create maybe a bit of an outline, at least create the characters, because I feel like that is where I'm going to start with this book, because it is going to be very character driven. That is going to be like the main thing of the story. It's going to be a very character driven novel written in verse, and it's going to be, I'm trying not to make it too similar to myself, because I feel like this is a story, I'm basically writing a story that I wish I had read when I entered my 20s. So that's kind of the big concept of the story. It's a story that I wish I had read, and it's not going to be a memoir. I'm going to try and make sure that the main character is different, even though she is going to have some similarities to me. But it's just really exciting to do this, because, like I said, I don't think I will write another novel, or at the moment I might do, you never know. But it's really exciting because, like, I've had this such big concept for such a long time, and now I'm starting to kind of create something and expand upon it, which is really exciting. So that's what I've been doing. I may do some of it tomorrow, I don't know, but yeah, just thought I'd tell you that little update. So I have technically done my writing for today, but I may still do a bit more. But anyway, yeah, I just thought I'd update you on that. It's just really exciting. Like I said, nothing is going to come of this story anytime soon, because I feel like it's something that I have to kind of live through my life a little bit more to be able to progress the story and finish it. But I don't know, maybe one day in the very, very far future you guys might get to read it, you never know. But obviously we are in the very early stages. So yeah, that is my update. And now I have to go and lay the table for tea, so I'll probably update you guys again in a couple of days with some more writing progress. So it is the 18th of March, and I cannot remember the last time I updated you guys. I say that basically every time I start a new clip, but I spent the majority of the past few days kind of planning out my book a little bit. Since I had inspiration for that idea, I kind of spent a few days starting to plan out characters and stuff like that, and then I started to concentrate a little bit more on my poetry. I just wrote some random ideas down, some really rough first drafts, and today I did another workshop that Rupi Kaur was doing. She's doing another Instagram live workshop, which is like the third one that she's done now, and I did that and I really enjoyed doing that. And I won't read you anything that I did. We did 3 exercises. That's generally what she does, 3 exercises, but there was one, and I will show you it, where we did drawing. We basically had to draw a house, like how we see ourselves as a house, I guess. And you might not see very well, but that is my house. And I'm not an artist by any means, but it was quite fun doing that. And then we kind of had to write about our house, like as if you were giving somebody a tour, and that was quite interesting. I've not really got poetry ideas. When I do stuff like this, I tend to not write a poem, if you see what I mean. I just kind of stream of consciousness. That's what I tend to do, but I've really been enjoying workshops, and I feel more motivated to do it when it's a video and I'm watching it, or if it's an Instagram live. When I have to do it on my own, it's a little bit more difficult because I kind of slack a bit, but I enjoyed doing that. And that is all I've got to update you guys for a moment. It's kind of crazy doing writing because sometimes I look forward to it and sometimes I don't. If you see what I mean. To be fair, I've only finished one poem so far, but I'd like to maybe at least finish one more, because sometimes with me with poems, like it takes me months, sometimes like at least a year for a poem to be ready, because sometimes I have to write it or do a few drafts and then have to like leave it alone for a couple of months and then come back to it, and so that's kind of my process. But I'm kind of in the mood at some point over the next few days to redraft a poem idea that I had. I wrote about it maybe a week or two ago, for a book idea that I have that I'm not going to be sharing it with you guys, but I would like to redraft that at some point. I don't know if I'll finish it, but maybe redraft and it would be quite cool. But yeah, that's how it's been going. It's been going okay, and we're like halfway through. No, we're not nearly halfway through because it's 40. We're nearly halfway through because it's the 18th. So this is very exciting. So yes, that is my little update for you guys. I've done my writing for the day, which is great. Don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I might try and do some redrafting like I said. But yeah, I don't know hopefully you were enjoying this vlog so far. I know it's a bit different, but I hope you're enjoying it, and I will catch you in the next few days when I have some more writing updates. So it is now the 27th of April, and I forgot to write for not one day, but for 2 days in a row. So it was actually the 19th and 20th of April where I forgot. First day was generally because I like to write in the afternoon or in the evening, like late in the evening, and my friends, we did a video call with my friends, and then second day I have no excuse, I just completely forgot. So I've had to start again. Really frustrating. So I have actually written today already, and I'm back to day 7. So I'm probably not going to update you guys until I'm kind of way further on, because this is otherwise going to be a really long ass video, and I don't want that because I really do not want to have to start over again, because I was nearly at day 30 and we love that for me, but it's okay. I have written today, I just need to try and make sure I really prioritise it, but yeah, so that happened, and I will probably not update you guys again until I'm sort of back in the 20-something zone. So as long as I keep writing, I will have written for 40 days by the 30th of May, which is just over a month away. So such fun, but it's all part of the challenge, I guess, and I do want to be able to do this like solidly for 40 days, so I really need to knuckle down and just make sure that it's like one of my top priorities for the day. So yes, I don't think I've done that much exciting stuff with writing as well, but just since I last updated you, I finished a poem for Earth Day, even though it's kind of belated, which will probably be on my social media by the time this video goes up, because this will be up in June at this rate. And I have been doing a little bit more of creating my characters for my book today. I'm going to go back to the book whenever I feel like it. I'm not in a rush to write it. I want to just kind of let it develop organically and kind of not force it, because it's not like my main priority writing wise. But yeah, so that's what I've done today, and let's just hope that I don't have to restart this challenge again, otherwise we are going to be here till Christmas until this video is finished and I've completed this challenge. So yeah, I'll probably see you guys in a little while off, hopefully like a few weeks, unless there's anything that I want to specifically update you on, because like I said, otherwise this video is going to be very long. So I will see you at some point in the future. So it is the 1st of May, and I am on the 10th day of my second try of trying to write for 40 days, and I said I wasn't going to like talk or update you guys until I was kind of at the 20-day mark again, because obviously this video will be very long if not. But I did a workshop recently, a writing workshop, earlier today, and I really enjoyed it, and it just kind of made me realise something, so I just want to talk about it. So over the past couple of weeks since I've been doing this challenge, and also because of lockdown obviously when I'm filming this, there have been a lot of free poetry writing workshops, and I have done a lot of them. Like you said earlier in this vlog, I've done one by Rupi Kaur, she's done 3 now, I've done all of them. There was one by Morgan Harper Nichols, who I like to think most of you guys might know her from Instagram. I really like her work, so there was one by her. Penguin did one, and I did one on Skillshare. I signed up to Skillshare yesterday for a free trial. Not sponsored this video, even though I wouldn't be mad if it was, but I did a workshop on there yesterday and I really enjoyed that. And then I did one today by, it's called First Story I think, and which was done by the poet Cecilia Knapp, and I've never heard of her before, but I really enjoyed that workshop as well. And it just made me realise how far I've come with workshops, because the first workshop that I have probably ever done was the one that Rupi did, the first Instagram live workshop that Rupi did last month, and I found that rather stressful because I am somebody who overthinks a lot. I'm not very good at free writing, at just putting my thoughts on the paper, because I always think it's going to be rubbish, that somebody is going to read it and think it's awful. So I really struggle with that, like that perfectionism bit. But as I've done more of these workshops and more, I realised that I've found it so much easier to write, because a lot of these workshops generally start with like a free writing exercise, and that's the bit that I probably found the hardest, but I found that so much easier. And especially writing today, we did about 3 free writing exercises to warm up, and we only did about 2 minutes on each of them, but like I filled a page with like 3 of them. My handwriting's quite big, and then we wrote 2 poems after that, and like both of the poems that I've written are like a page long, also because my handwriting is quite big. But I didn't have to think too much. I'm kind of learning, when I come to doing exercises, is to go what I say in my head at first, because obviously once I've written it all down I can always redraft it in the future, and I feel like that's definitely going to be the case with a lot of this. And also just doing different exercises and getting me to think and write about things that I wouldn't necessarily think about, because I always wait for inspiration to come to me. But obviously with workshops you are given a prompt and you have to just write the first thing that comes into your head, and I found that really helpful. And also especially when they give examples, because I'm somebody who, when I'm in a learning environment, I really need somebody, or I really prefer it if, sorry my battery died, but having examples when I'm in a learning environment really helps me, because it kind of gives me a little bit of reassurance and also gives me a little bit of inspiration, I guess, of what to write. Because obviously the idea of doing workshops like this is that you're writing your own thing, but at the same time, like, I like having that little bit of extra guidance, so that really helps, especially when I get examples. And I've just really been enjoying it. I just feel like I can see an extra bit of growth in my writing, or at least in my mindset of just letting go and writing what comes to mind, whether it's good or bad or just a whole hot mess. Like, I'm learning that, and I feel like my writing is getting better, and that kind of descriptive, poetical writing is coming through, and I'm starting to see more themes in my writing as well. Doing these workshops, kind of the things that I keep bringing back up in my poems that I write and in the prompts that I'm given. So that's really quite exciting, and I don't know, doing these workshops just makes me happy. Like, it's bringing a lot of new light to my writing, and I really, really like that. So yeah, I just thought I'd update you guys on that, because I've really been enjoying doing these workshops, and I've got a couple more on Skillshare that I'm going to do. I think First Story are going to be bringing more out over the coming weeks, because it's in honour of National Writing Day, which is the end of June. So yeah, I'm really enjoying them, and I feel like I might actually make a video about all these free workshops that I've been doing, a separate video, so then I can talk to you guys about them more specifically and why I like them, and obviously share them with you guys so then you can follow along with them as well. But I've just been really, really enjoying them, and I feel like workshops are going to be the main thing that I'm going to do. And I've also got a poetry writing book that I've got, hopefully it's going to come next week, And I do have another one that arrived fairly recently, which is 52 Ways to Look at a Poem. That's more of like a reading than a writing textbook, but yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. I just thought I'd pop in and tell you guys that, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So I'll probably update you guys at around day 20 again. I'd like to think that I'm not going to have to restart again because I'm putting a lot more time and effort into when I do write, probably because I'm doing workshops and not writing one sentence rubbish poems last thing at night. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. So I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and I will check in with you guys probably around day 20 or something along those lines. So it is actually now the 4th of June. I have no idea when I last updated you guys. It was either the beginning of May, I think, or the end of April. I genuinely do not know. I haven't even looked at the footage from this, but I have now completed my challenge for writing for 40 days. The challenge actually ended on the 30th of May, so it's a couple of days later. I just haven't updated you guys because I've not really been feeling like vlogging lately, and also I've been doing the mental health one as well, so I was just kind of taking a bit more of a break and that sort of thing for vlogging for a couple of days. But yeah, I completed writing for 40 days, even though technically it was more than 40 days because obviously I had a slip up, like not writing for 2 days. So this vlog took a lot longer to film than I thought it was going to. I have no idea how long it's going to be. We will find out when I edit it. It might be a full-length feature film. Like, we don't know. We shall find out. But I really enjoyed doing this. It was definitely a challenge, and it's definitely been up and down. Like, there's been times where I've really been into my writing and other times where I just don't want to write at all and I just can't be bothered. But I guess that's the thing about anything creative. You have moments where you are like really loving it and really creative, and other times where you're just kind of like, you kind of go in waves of like your intensity of how much you love it or how much you're into it. Or it's like that with me at any rate. I don't know if it's like that with anybody else, but it's been a challenge. I've learned a lot about myself with my writing. I feel like I have become more comfortable with doing workshops. That's one of the big things that I have discovered, because before this I hardly did any workshops, and if I did I found it extremely frustrating because I'm not very good. I was never very good at free writing. I always had to, like, I'm such an overthinker, but I feel like I have done really well with workshops. I've done a couple more since I last updated you guys, and I've just really been enjoying doing the workshops. That's probably my favourite bit. And then obviously trying new techniques and coming up with new poems. I must have finished maybe 3, maybe 4 poems, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but for me it is, because there's some poems that just you have to put in a drawer and leave for a while. I'm getting very bright here. So you have to kind of, you do a couple of drafts and then there's some poems that you just have to leave for a while, which is what I've done with a couple of them. So I'll come back to them at some point in the future. I definitely intend on finishing them. It's just I need to let them stew, you know, just like leave them be and then come back to them later on and see if I can finish them off. But yes, I hope you guys have enjoyed this vlog. It has been a challenge to say the least doing this, but it's also been fun. And like I said, I've learned a lot about myself, and I will talk about this a little bit more in a up and coming writing vlog. I don't know when I'm going to film that, hopefully some point in June, and then it should go up in July maybe, roughly, something like that. This vlog is going to go up the week that I'm filming this. It's going to go up on the 7th hopefully. But I hope you have enjoyed it, and yeah, I will talk more about my feelings and thoughts in a come up writing vlog even, and I'll talk more about workshops as well, and I will hopefully do a separate video on like free writing workshops as well, because obviously they're great resources and I've really enjoyed basically all of the writing workshops that I have done. So yes, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope that maybe if you are into writing, it has maybe inspired you to do it, or try and write for 40 days, or anything else, like try and read for 40 days, try and draw for 40 days, like anything. You can apply this challenge to anything. I just thought it'd be fun to do for writing, to help me kind of build a routine and kind of develop my writing style, which I feel like it definitely has done. And I definitely want to try and continue to write as regularly as possible. I'm taking a break from writing this week, but next week I'm definitely planning on getting back into it and trying to write, if not every day, like nearly every day, like most days. And then we will see where my writing journey goes on from there. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you have enjoyed it, or if you plan on doing a 40-day challenge. Like I said, if you're going to do it for writing or reading or anything else, let me know in the comments. I would love to know as always. If you like this video, then please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more bookish videos from me, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and little bell icon so you'll be notified every time I post a new video. As always, I will leave links to my social media along with the links to my Goodreads in the description down below for you guys. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!